Well, welcome to the Wednesday night episode of the Blitz Pickup. And yes, I'm back as promised, and the whole crew is back tonight. And it's going to be such an exciting night for us, right? We are going to dive deep into the front office. We are going to look at each individual part, the owner, the GMs, the Brandon Shore, because we got to talk about him, right? And we're going to evaluate and look at their decision making so far and see, are we liking it? Are we loving it? Did they get it right? Did they get it wrong? It's going to be very interesting because I know that there has been, guys on both sides of this debate, especially when it comes into the guys that Ross and Garfinkel brought in. So don't think that this is just about to be a very even kill show because we're talking about the front office. No, we are really going to bring the fire tonight when we talk about, these guys that are making ultimately decisions on our roster, the hires, the promotions, because remember, let's not forget we had promotions within and we brought guys in. There's so much to get into, and we're going to wrap it all up today. Tone Lou, let's get into the show.
For Sandy, I'm not gonna lie. See, like I know people get into, they be entertained and they be excited for the players and all these glamours and all that, and breaking down what each player can and cannot do. I couldn't wait for this one. I specifically waited until my brother was back so we could have this discussion because there's a lot of questions I gotta ask him. There's a lot of things I need for him to clear up for me. So yeah, I'm ready for the smoke today. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I came dressed in black today for a reason.
Oh, you
Well,
came just
Oh,
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
You came ready for the smoke too?
It feels like I'm gonna get jumped tonight. That's what it feels like.
Oh.
Both of y'all in black. But before we get started, hey, listen, Insanity, how you doing? Tone, what's good?
What's good, my good brother?
Now, what's crazy is I woke up this morning, came on the show, I didn't see no thumbnail, no nothing yet, right?
Mhm.
Then I proceed to start, with some violence today, Insanity. I was in that mode today. And then listen to what Tone just said. Oh, he waited for this episode for me to come back. He knows I'm on the other side. He knows that from off. You see how he waited for me to kind of go all in on the violence, and then he creates this show. You see what I'm saying?
I, you know, violence beget violence. So I'm just saying. I just felt like it's been a long. I remember Fitz saying, you know what? Let me talk to you because he gonna get it in pause. You know what I'm saying? But it's gonna be some beef going on in a minute. Um, I remember an individual came back, and verbatim. I'm trying to fight. It's been boring. I want to argue. I'm almost 100%. I'm trying to fight. I'm tired of all the good and getting along. That's what someone said. So me, I'm the type of guy. I oblige. That's all.
now, Tone. Can I just ask one question?
Yes, you can. Yes.
Because we really did, you were very strategic with the shows. We would do one positional group, then we would do their counterpart and all that, right? Like back and forth. It was a really good, cohesive off season leading up to training camp, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I just have one question. Did you really try to time this out for Lou's return to being close to 100%, or did it just happen this way?
Well, I didn't time it out to be 100%. Like I
Hmm.
I didn't time it out. I was specifically saving this portion, and y'all heard me when I threw it up there. I said, "Oh, we gonna talk about Brandon Shaw." I can't wait till my brother get back to talk about Brandon Shaw. So yeah, but it falls right on the lines of how I was doing the show. We do this positional groups, and then we do the counterpart. Who's goes and gets hit? What? So we doing I have one stance on the front office and I had to do the counterpart, which is Lou. So it's only right that I waited to this time to do the show like this. That's all I'm saying. Because I know what we can get into the show when you ready, Uncle.
Yeah, we can get into the show. I'll say this: we, as Dolphin fans, we love to talk about people that don't matter. I'll say that. I'm just saying, like listen, I'm excited for today's show. I'm
Okay.
just saying, how long are we going to talk about guys that sit in the leather seats on Sunday?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There it go. There it go.
Oh, listen. Before we get into that, shout out to the amazing final that we're going to get this Sunday between Argentina and Spain. Boom. Yeah, I had to pull that. And the third round matchup of England and France. I was completely wrong. I did not see Argentina making it to the final. They have somehow found a way in back-to-back games to pull it out, which is you gotta tip your hat off to them. It is what it is because teams have had them beat, but like they said, it's not until that final whistle blows. And
what was Bellingham doing? What was he doing?
Huh?
He was trying to fight people today. That's
what
was
Bellingham doing? No. You know.
Shout out to Real Madrid.
You see how he shout out to Real Madrid for waking up that monster over there and Messi. Because why did y'all see what he looked? He say, "Oh really?" He looked at him and said, "Oh really? Okay, I got you." 2 assists later, Argentina on to the championship, to the final. Why would you wake up a sleeping beast giant?
Yeah, but wasn't it when he talked to him like that? Wasn't that in like almost the beginning of the game?
No.
Yeah, remember when Messi made
time? It was after halftime.
Oh, maybe it was close to the halftime. Yeah.
You talk about it was after halftime. They remember they got into it a couple of times. I'm talking about the time when he looked at Messi and Messi looked at him and said, oh, "Okay."
Yeah, Messi made that face. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Say that. I got you there, my brother. And we know,
Well, listen, I'll say this real quick. The referees have helped Argentina get to the final, except today.
Okay.
England, I don't know what you were doing, bro. You're in the 80th minute. Play keep away at that point. I know Argentina's putting a lot of pressure on you, and again, they got some great players over there. But bro, like today was a choke job. Like when I watched Egypt in the semifinals or in the quarterfinals, it looked like Egypt. Even with the 2-goal lead, remember they took the goal away from Egypt to make it 3-0, or it would have made it 3-0.
That would have been 3-0.
It just felt like the referees, it was one-sided in a couple games. But today, bro, I thought again the game was chippy from the start of it, Insanity and Tone, and bro, it just felt like a choke job by England, man. I don't know how y'all feel, but that's how I feel about it. It was just a choke job all the way around.
When that pressure get on, this is when the real true champions show up. When pressure.
Tone, but two goals in 6 minutes, bro.
I've seen worse.
Well, we just see. Listen, they did it.
You watch USA play in the World Cup. I know you.
They did it. What is Cape Verde? They did it against them. At the end of the day, listen. When your star's gonna show up, you can't call him the GOAT and he don't show up in the crunch time. He did what he did.
Yeah.
Listen, I called this final. I'm just gonna point that out. I called this. But hey, last point before we move on, Spain has the skill set to do exactly what you said. Like, and you watch how they play. No one fear. They don't fear anyone, and they come the way that they beat that ball around. It's like music. I'm talking about just poetry in motion. The way they move that soccer ball around. So it might be a different story if Argentina go down to them, and we know how they defense is. It's like that.
Oh, it's definitely like that. I think, again, if Insanity, you're our local soccer resident, like, professional up here on the panel, so you can have the last word on this. I'll say this, though, to Tone's point. If today, I got Spain beating Argentina, because for me, just throughout the whole tournament, Argentina, I don't know if they just played down to their competition for Insanity. Yeah, again, you can speak more on that, and then they turn it on when they feel like they're really in jeopardy. They just turn it on. But to Tone's point, Spain has the best defense, in my opinion, the entire tournament. That goes by the numbers and everything. And I just think Argentina, they haven't been, they don't look as dominant as what I think people will make them out to seem. I would say I think I got Spain winning the whole thing. But Insanity, unless Tone has something else, I would love to hear your thoughts real quick about it.
Get into this. I'm ready to fight.
Okay.
Let me keep this short and sweet. Spain, 2-1. Messi will have something to say about that though, because like to Tone's point, the GOAT, some people's GOAT,
he's the GOAT hands down.
He tends to show up, and I mean, here's the thing: you have a Argentina team who's been there, who's done it, who's won it, who knows what that pressure feels like. You have a very interesting Spain team led by a very young man, very young individual. And it's going to be very interesting to see. But he shows no fear. Like there's one thing about Lamine Yamal, he shows no fear, and where you feel like some of these guys aren't getting shots off. I think the last game he might not have even taken. No, he took some shots. He's definitely going to have impact on this game. But to your point, it's that defense, and they're going to be very aware of how Argentina has won their last couple games. And I don't foresee, them, blinking if it is like that close or if they're down. Like they're not going to let Argentina get comfortable and get back in it. I don't care if like they might foul Argentina every single possession, like just foul. I don't know, but they're, as you see, their back line is one of the most beautiful things to watch in conjunction with their goalie. So that's it. That's all I got. Short, sweet. Let me get about here. Let's
their
get to
entire team is defense.
it's Spanish soccer. This is why I
But I
watch.
will say this: it is set up for the GOAT versus the protege. So
yeah,
you know what, Tone, and I'm glad you brought that up because I know we're getting ready to start the show. Everybody sit tight, but just a quick follow up for Insanity. Insanity, to Tone's point, the passing of the GOAT to maybe another GOAT here in the future. He's talking about like from Barcelona, right? That team, Barcelona, Insanity.
that's where he plays.
Tone, what's the problem? I can't get my shit off, Tone.
That's where he chose to play. I can't fault the kid. That's where he chooses to play.
That's what I'm talking about, Insanity. Hey, we got to speak the truth.
Are you saying Barcelona is the one that had a GOAT? Is what you saying?
Well. Again, listen. It just seems like because I heard this game is going to be called.
Let her live.
Check the
let her
title.
live. Okay, my bad. Let's start the show. Let's let her live. My bad.
Check the titles. That's all I got to say. Check the titles.
Hey, yo.
It speaks for itself.
That's
Check
crazy.
The titles. All those years he was at Barca and Ronaldo was at Real Madrid. Check the titles. Let's get into the show. For what it's worth. Shout out to this. Okay, so starting. Are we getting into the show? Are we going? Okay, boom. All right. Okay, cool. Tony, because Lou had to take a shot at me. How do you feel about Ross and Garfinkel and the people that they brought in, and including Aikman? What do you think about the decision?
Well. This is where the fight starts. Well, probably not. But shout out to Ross. I feel like from the get go, so I got to keep the same energy from the get go. My whole problem with how that went down was Dan Marino. I always gave Ross credit for reaching out and outsourcing Troy Aikman because he had to get it right. He had to. And my whole issue was, well, if he has to do that, why does Dan Marino have a job? And I still keep that same stance on that. But however, I did say when it first came on, when I saw how they was moving, I said and I feel like Ross made the right decision. I feel like John Eric Sullivan is going to be successful, and give him and Tom Garfinkel, some credit, right? Because these are the decisions for me that Ross and Garfinkel should personally collab on because they have to hire someone to take over the job. Now, when they did eventually hire someone, I want to give them credit for my main homeboy, when I can't wait till we get to that one, right? For putting Brendan Shore in charge of bringing in the guy, right? Because at the end of the day, I remember asking this question: what makes Brendan Shore not a football guy? When people were saying, "Oh, they shouldn't be making decisions," when the rumors was coming out of him having difference of opinion when how they doing these contracts and making certain decisions that's handcuffing his franchise, I'm like, that sounds like a football guy to me, right? And then now they put him. They said he was hitting the hiring of the GM. So I have to give him credit for doing that. And then and allow Brendan Shore to take full control over who's the hiring of the GM. I have to say I give them full credit for making the right decision. I think it's the right decision. I know we still have the season going on, but this is based on what I see now and projection. And so far, everything that I have seen, looks like they have what we've been asking for, which is football guys making football decisions, right? It's cool. Some people might not like the name. That's for them. But when it comes to me, I'm very, very, very happy and glad. Now I know Lou is going to add something, so I'm going to let him get that part because he said it at the end. But it came out that Garfinkel had a relationship. He does business with Troy Aikman. Why not use your resources? You're doing business with a guy like Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman is in a booth. He has certain connections that you can use, and to get inside scoop on certain individuals and candidates, and they used it to their advantage, which I feel like they should have been doing that type of stuff. But hey, it's never too late. I'm glad they chose to do that. I've always been a big fan of Ross when it came to spending money and how he handles, the guys that he bring in, as far as giving them the keys to the boat and said, the money is behind you. That's one thing you don't have to worry about. You just make sure you make the right decision. And so far for me, the guys that they've hired, albeit from Troy Aikman, albeit from Brandon Shure, were given a promotion, and the guys that they brought in, it seemed like it finally heading in the direction that I feel like it should be going on. So at this moment, right now, if I had to evaluate them like I would evaluate every positional group, I'll say I'm very impressed. I'm happy. I think he finally done the one part that I thought he was lacking at, which is getting the right football guys in the building. And I think he succeeded in that aspect. So I'm cool with it. I'm happy, and I think they're doing a great job with that. And I have no complaints about it. 100% so far. Now you can let Luke tell me that he's doing a good job.
Yeah. Hey, remember when we were backstage and I told y'all I wanted to argue?
Yes.
I don't know. Like, first of all, when I hear Tone say they did the right thing, I don't know what Halfley is or Sully is. So I don't know. I can't say they did the right thing. From that standpoint, I could care less. Where I was in line with Tone when he talked about Dan Marino, you brought in Troy Aikman, man. You've had Dan Marino in the building for 20 years. I'm assuming if Troy Aikman had all these connections while he was playing, Dan Marino played at the same time that Troy Aikman played. That he don't have those connections. So I don't know. What I'm saying is to give these guys credit, right? And again, this is why we're on the show, to give our opinions. Tony gave it his, I'm gonna give mine. When I hear, we're finally doing the right thing, right? I think two things can be true. I do like maybe some of the things that people have done, and as the show continues, I'll highlight some of those. But I also think that our previous regime got it right when they brought in Brian Flores. And ultimately that didn't work out. So when all I'm saying is, for the people that just give this regime credit because they're bringing in the right people, I don't know. I've seen past regimes. Take your pick. Call whoever you want in the Dolphins over the last 25, 30 years or whatever, that I felt like they were bringing in the right people, that they were doing the right moves. So, again, two things can be true. I think if I had to put a grade on these guys, the one thing I will say about what Halfley and Sully and some of the guys that, since they've been here, right, what they said they were going to do, they did. So from that standpoint, again, I can't kill them, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I didn't like the hiring of Jeff Halfley. Everybody knows that. Sully, cool. It is what it is. At the end of the day, we fired one general manager. You got to bring a guy in. That's fine. I just think I guess we keep talking about it. There's certain things I like that Sully has done as the general manager. There's things I don't like that I disagree with. So, but overall, listen, so far so good. But I keep warning people, Tony, for insanity. For me, it's still the honeymoon stage. When everybody tells me, and I'm not saying you two up here, I'm just saying when everybody's up here telling me across the board, everybody that's real high on the team, well, they're doing such a great job. Everybody seems to be on the same page. What adversity has hit the building yet? Has there been any? Ain't no bullets flying. They haven't really practiced against nobody else. They haven't played a game yet. So again, honeymoon stage for me. Everybody knows whether you're a man or female, you're in a relationship, the first 6 months, yeah, it's great. There ain't no real argument. A year and a half from now, though, when the bullets are flying, and let's say you move in together and bills start piling up and this, that, and the third, yeah, so maybe there's ruffles of the feathers. So listen, without going any longer, there's some good and there's some bad. I'm not going to pretend like it's been all great and stuff like that. At least for me, I don't see that this just thing has been perfect in every move they've done. I don't agree with that. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it, Mike Best. We'll get to that part on the John Eric Sullivan. But I'm sorry, I thought we was gonna have the biggest disagreement on the Brendan Shure, but I can't believe I just heard what you just said. Now he said,
what did I say?
One, you the main reason, you the main culprit about saying, oh, Tom Garfinkel ain't got no business being in business rooms football rooms making football decisions. What you saying that?
Absolutely.
The Ross, but at the end of the day, right? Brandon Shore, wasn't you one of the biggest ones said Brandon Shore ain't had no business making no football decisions?
1000%.
He should have been in there. But right now, you're saying that actually, yes, they have already said a bunch of things that we were saying that we didn't like. As far as, first of all, who's making the decisions? The guy that they brought in, didn't they already make that clear?
In what aspect? What are you talking about?
As far as who's making the decision, is Stephen Ross or Tom Garfinkel making decisions? Hasn't that already been cleared up?
Well, again, our general manager came out and he said he doesn't give a damn about what the owner says or anybody else in that building. The final say says with him. Is that not what he said?
Yes, that's what he said.
I think that when I was making those comments about Brandon Shore and Tom Garfinkel, it was in this past regime where we all know now, right? Revisionist history, that Chris Greer is a pushover, Mike McDaniel was a pushover, and there was a lot of input across the board. What I'm saying is, okay, cool. You want to give Tom Garfinkel credit for hiring Sully or Brandon Shore credit for hiring Sully? Fine, right? But for me, that's where the stop. I don't think Brandon Shore is making no decisions now.
Okay.
I don't think Tom Garfinkel is walking in our office now and saying, let's say Sully wants to do something for Insanity and Tone. I don't think Garfinkel can walk in Sully's office and be like, hey, put a hold on that.
Yeah.
Let's think about things real quick. I don't think he's doing that to Sully. I think Sully, if he heard that, I think Sully would look at him and be like, dog, you hired me to do the job, right? Let me do the job. That's what I think.
Well, you know what? First chop of the day.
Got him. We fucking got him.
I was waiting for that statement. I was just waiting for that statement. Now, ain't you the same dude that said those are the guys that Stephen Ross wasn't going to hire? Ain't you the same dude that said the reason Stephen Ross ain't bring in John Harbaugh is because he want yes men? Now, all of a sudden, you want to change? No, you can't change, Lou. You said he wasn't going to bring in nobody like that. You said the reason he brought Sully in is because he's a pushover and he's a yes man because it's his first job. And I literally told you that's not what it was. So you got to give him credit for doing the things that you said he wasn't going to do, which is bringing guys that look at him and say, this is my job, and put them in a place. He brought a guy in, a guy that you said they would never do. There was the whole thing. When we was outside, the biggest thing was, oh no, this is why they ain't doing that, because they want yes men. Remember when we said change come? You were like, it ain't no change. That's what you said. You said they pulled the rug over our head. They got the best PR team because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Because that it's not the way it was at first, Lou. You have to. Because Sully came in and go ahead.
No. Go ahead. My bad, Tom. Finish.
No, I'm saying because Sully came in and did exactly what we wanted our GM to do. And they chose to go with that guy. So that means, to me, we have to acknowledge the fact, not we, right? But the people that said were saying that they're not going to bring in these type of guys. The people that said they learned their lesson for Brian Flores and they're not going to make that mistake again. That's what people were saying. We have to acknowledge the fact that, hey, you know what? I thought maybe I said that, but no, that's not true. Because these guys, right, came in and established some structure immediately. Put their foot down immediately. Because we said they didn't have the cachet. It seemed like he walked in that building and let people know, yeah, this is my show and I'm running this show like that, and then not letting
Absolutely,
anybody know.
absolutely. But
So
when you
we
brought up
take that.
the
Go
but
ahead.
when you brought up the John Harbaugh comparison, what I mean you're not going to give a guy like John Harbaugh is the same reason they had the falling out with Flores. Because when Flores was here, remember Flores didn't want to talk. He didn't want to hear from nobody. He wanted all the control. He wanted all the power, and they pushed back on that. John Harbaugh was going to be the same thing. So yeah, they're going to give Sully. When I say Sully, it's he said, well, Troy Aikman can be in the building, but he ain't going to have no say. Oh, I don't care what the owner says. This is my show. Yeah, I think that's true, but I think Sully is more open-minded to still work well with others. If you get my drift, I think John Harbaugh in that situation, he's more of that Flores type. He was going to come in here and he was going to. It didn't matter who the general manager was. It didn't matter who had any seat or title. It was going to be end all be all with him. That's why I was saying guys like John Harbaugh, Brian Flores type. That's the guys that the Dolphins stay away with. Because yeah, Sully's running the show, but he's still willing to play nice with others. He's still willing to entertain conversations, listen, this, that, and third, bounce ideas. John Harbaugh, Brian Flores types, the Bill Belichick's of the world, they're the end all be all. They ain't trying to hear nothing. And again, go look at the Giants. They didn't fire their general manager. He is virtually now selling peanuts on Sunday. That's what he is. John Harbaugh has full control of everything with the Giants. You think the Dolphins were giving him that?
Well, at the end of the day, I wouldn't say that, because we seen that was their biggest dispute that they were having when it came to them negotiating a contract. How much power they was going to give, and they was willing to concede. And now it was. Now let's be real. And even in Dolphin fan base, you heard everyone saying. I don't know if you was one of the ones, so I'm not going to put that on you. But we all said when John Harbaugh get in that office, that GM is going to be fired. That was the narrative. John Harbaugh was going to be running the show. He's going to bring his own guy in, and he went over there, and that did not happen. So they, at the end of the day, they didn't let John Harbaugh just be the end all be all, and it don't matter what you say. He still had to deal with them keeping their GM.
But he got removed from, again, who controls it over there is John Harbaugh, though. They didn't fire him, right? Because he took a lesser role. Tone, let me ask you this, and Finsanity as well. When the Giants hired John Harbaugh, if John Harbaugh walked in that building the very next day and said, hey, I'm doing this, that's this, and let's say the general manager, let's say John Harbaugh brought up 5 scenarios and the general manager had pushed back on 3 of those 5. And there was a power struggle. And let's just say John Harbaugh went up to the owner and said, hey, it's him or me. What do you think happens?
On that part, I don't know.
No, we do know what happens, because
I don't know. You feel like you know, but I'm saying,
I
don't know.
I'm saying we do know what happened though. The guy is selling peanuts on Sunday, Tone. That's what he's doing.
Well, he's not. He's the GM.
Okay, all right. Well, hey, all right, cool. I guess.
I'm just saying, he's still the GM. He's doing what the, and at the end of the day, that's cool, right? Because you said that because trying to say that the Dolphins wouldn't have gave him that type of power at the end of the day. Well, the Dolphins hired, right, a guy at the GM role, which how we want our GM to handle it. John Harbaugh, you're the head coach. I'm the GM. Get in your place. Stay in your place, basically. And Sully comes off as that person. Everything, situation that he's been handling, he let everyone know, no, this is my decision. This is what we've been asking for. So John Harbaugh, first of all, if John Harbaugh would have tried to came over here and do what he's doing, we already see Sully was going to put him in his place. So at the end of the day, the guy that they brought in, that, Ross and Garfinkel allowed to come in, is the type of guy that we want. So at the end of the day, we have to give him credit for bringing in the type of football guys that we've been asking for. The football guys that can say, he can say what he wants, but this is my decision. This is what we've been asking for. This is exactly what we got in the building. I always said that. It was never predicated on being successful or failing. I say if they fail, let them fail their way. I don't need you back there having say so on whether your GM could hire a coach or not. and tell him he need to pump his brakes. That's what the problem was. Don't it seem like Sully is the guy to be like how we wanted Chris Greer to be? Either you make my decision or I'm out. But you're not going to be here making decisions. You're going to let me do my job. So all I'm saying is, for everyone that assumed that they was going to stay far away from them type of guys, it don't seem like that. It seems like they understand that they need football guys in there making football decisions. And I've always said, one of my biggest questions I said, when did they stop trusting Christopher Greer? Because if we remember everything, it don't seem like they always was the type of front office to get into or get in the way of GMs. It seemed like Chris Greer was soft, just like he said, defer when he shouldn't have. And then it's not like he couldn't put his foot down, because we already know last season he came out and said, "Oh no, this is gonna be me." And with putting your foot down, you should have been doing that. Now it's too late, and look what you are already allowed to happen. So I'm giving them full credit. I'm not going to say they did exactly what I felt like they should have done, which is get football guys in there that's willing to stand on what they believe on and say, no, let me run this franchise my way. And they have to get credit for it. I'm sorry. That's what I'm asking for. And I got to give them a passing and saying they so far, they have been successful at bringing in the guys that they have. And I don't care if that regime fail or lose. As long as John Eric Sullivan is taking full accountability for every decision that's been made, that what a GM's supposed to make, they still made the right decision, because those are the type of guys that you need in that front office. You don't need if your owner got to be babysitting the GM, you hired the wrong person. If they make decision, let them make that decision. If it work out, cool. If it don't, then you hold them accountable and fire them out there. But don't keep them in the building, and then you got to try to handcuff them and hold their hands and monitor every move they make. And that's all I'm saying. So yeah, I'm giving them full credit. I'm not happy doing the credit. No, they get full credit. No. They did a good job. A good job.
Tone, I just want to circle back to something you just said, and I just want to make sure I'm understanding you correct, because sometimes you say things and I misinterpret it, right? You said that you don't care if this regime fails. You said that.
Yes.
For Ross and Garfinkel's point of why you're cool with their part in this, it's because they changed their process of going and getting guys that, just go along, get along. Football guys
right.
that go along to get along.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to say explain that to me, but I feel like you did.
Yeah, I can explain it easily.
I'm just not, because at the end of the day, right? And maybe I'm just overthinking this, or not putting it on the right person, right? Maybe I'm not putting it on the right person in the tree going down, right? The success for them is just like getting football guys who don't take no ish from nobody else, just take accountability. But like, would we not then criticize them? Because like, if they're not successful in it, or if this regime fails, isn't that a failure on Garfinkel and Ross's point? Because like, these are the guys with whom they entrusted to lead their franchise out of what we have been in. And yes, for everything that is right, yeah, they seem to be like, they're not like the yes men, they're football guys and all those things. That's cool. But at the end of the day, their job wasn't to just not bring in guys that are accountable. Their job was to bring in guys to change the trajectory and the course of this franchise. So why do we draw the line at it's a success just because they did that? They had guys, right?
No. So the way you evaluate, I don't understand. So let me ask you a question. Well, before, no, their job does not stop there. No one job stops there, right? So that's why the misconception is coming in at, or the misunderstanding. I didn't say that their job stopped there. I said them being successful is not predicated on the GM or let's say Sully being successful or not, because that's not the only evaluation of it. The problem what we had now, and I'm going to tell you, do you think everyone's supposed to be perfect? So they shouldn't make no mistakes. Like they're supposed to hire the right. No, I didn't say. No, just ask my question because I'm not saying you saying this. I'm asking, do you think everyone's supposed to be perfect? No, right? I thought that was a rhetorical question. They're not supposed to be perfect. What we typically, or anybody, when they evaluate people in their position, what did we kill Ross and Arnold for? Why does Christopher Greer still have a job? See, they weren't criticizing him because Chris Greer was failing. They were criticizing him because he didn't get him out of the building. They were criticizing him because when you fired the coaches, you didn't take the GM with you, because you have to understand, you got to get rid of all of them. And then when you bring in your new regime, they supposed to have a full rebuild, and it's different. You're keeping guys in that was part of the failure. That's what people killed them for. See, but when you bring people in, you have to start right there. Yo, why haven't this guy lost his job yet? Because as an owner, that's your job, is to fire the people that aren't being successful. The same way, I can't wait till we get to the other ones, because it's the same energy that I give for anybody. When we were talking about Christopher Greer, I say Chris Greer did some good things. He did some bad things. The reason why I think Chris Greer is a terrible GM is because he refused, since he's been here, to get rid of his mistakes. He held on to them too long, right? If he would get rid of the mistake, you got opportunity. Bring in better. Okay, you brought in a guy that just say Liam Eichenberg. He didn't pan out. Your job is to get him out of there and try to bring in someone else to continue to. And I think as long as you continue to do that, it's cool. Just like we pointed out, you have to understand we're not expecting you to be perfect, but this is as far as when you go to gym, this is 100% a result-based business, right? So you can get them out of there. We got to understand, owners, you can't get rid of owners, right? But what owners are supposed to do is get rid of the guys that not getting the job done. Because you paid them for that franchise. You can do whatever you want with that franchise. But I'm judging you. You brought in these guys that aren't getting their job done. Why haven't you fired them yet? Because that's what good owners do. They fire the guys that aren't getting the job done. Instead of firing them, guess what they did? Oh, I don't trust you no more. But I want to control you. Whatever. I don't know if they have trust issues or whatever it is that they didn't want to bring in guys like that. Or they were comfortable with them. I don't know what the reason for. That's a failing owner, because you're refusing to get rid of the problems in your building, right? If I say if this regime failed, then the owners fail too, then that's me saying that they got to be perfect. That if you hire somebody, he has to be successful, because that's how we're going to judge you. I don't think that. You get what I'm saying? Now, do you want them to be successful? Yes, of course you want them to be successful. But I'm still not going to say they was wrong or they did bad by bringing in John Eric Sullivan, because that wasn't the problem that we would have with Christopher Greer. We didn't have a problem with Christopher Greer failing. We had a problem with Christopher Greer not getting rid of the people that he failed on. That was the issue. You kept all these people around, right? If Sully isn't getting the job done and Ross get him out the building, guess what I'm gonna say? That's what the owner's supposed to do. You're supposed to continue to evaluate the guy that you bring in, because it's your job to get a guy. It is your job to get a guy here with a winner mentality that can change this franchise around. But you don't stop when that guy is failing. That's when you have to step in and say, no, you got to get out of here, bro. You're not getting your job done. And I know you're going to have some of the fan base saying, oh, man, I'm tired of changing different regimes every 3 to 4 years. So which one would you rather? Would you rather someone keep a GM in there for over 20 years that's been failing for 20 years? No, you can't do nothing about that owner. You can't get rid of him. Or would you rather have a GM an owner that says, hey, man, listen, I hired you. This wasn't the right thing to do. And the right thing to do as an owner is understand that I made a mistake and I got to get rid of it. I have to. That's why I say it's not predicated on whether or not Sully is successful or not. It's not going to change my mind on whether I feel like he made the right decision. I feel like he made the right decision because he got a guy in there that's gonna say, if I fail, let me fail my way. And those are the type of guys you want in as a GM. That means they're not yes men. They're not scared to do what they have to do. Because at the end of the day, some of the decisions that Chris Grimm made probably would have been the right thing. Because we know that Mike McDaniel wasn't his guy. He had multiple candidates. But because he failed to put his foot down and let them go in there and say, oh no, you gotta wait. No. I don't need a GM that no, okay, cool. No, but I'm going with this is my decision. If I fail, then you can fire me. We need people like that. So that's why no, I need people in that position that's willing to do their job, regardless of what the owner said, because you hired me to do a job. It's not only predicated on one thing and one thing only. Define success is what I would say. If he come in and we let's say we get one playoff victory, is that successful for you? No. Or that just if he come in and let's say they win 12 to they always win in 10, 11, 12, 13 games, but we don't win a playoff game. Would you define that as being successful?
No.
Right? So what is successful for you? Only winning playoff games or Super Bowls?
So before we go off on another branch, let me circle back to where I had asked your question. Because I think now as you talked more, I'm like, okay, you're saying like, you don't care if like they don't get every little thing right.
Yeah.
So when you say, I don't care if this regime fails and it's just like that open-ended, that's why I said I wanted to understand like where you were coming at. Because like when you're saying when that, I think they get fired. At the end of this, like with everything lined up, like for instance, we go through Chris Greer's whole roster of things and his whole regime and his whole thing, and we say, oh, it was a failure, right? You look back at that, and and to me, I was thinking you're saying you don't care if that happens because
no.
That's why I said we needed to get to that point and like clear that up. You just said I don't care if this regime fails. You didn't say I don't care if this regime doesn't get everything right. I'm not expecting them to be perfect.
No, well.
But then you came back and said that.
No, at the beginning, remember I say if they end up getting rid of Sully because he failed, I'm still not going to change the fact and say that it was wrong. That means they already fired him, which means they didn't allow him to fail for 10, 20 years and keep him around. That's why I said that. If they end up firing Sully, huh?
Well, it depends on how much rope they do give him. Because you're speaking as if like they didn't let him do it for 12 years. Well, we don't know like how much time. I don't think that they have that much rope of 12 years. I think they kind of already learned from that. But hopefully. But yeah, I kind of get what you're saying now.
It was really predicated on if they see that he's not doing the job done and they get rid of him, I'm still not going to say, oh, that owner failed by hiring him because they fired someone that wasn't getting the job done. Now, if they let him stay around, he's terrible, not doing nothing, 10, 15 years, and it's the same thing, yeah, that's a failure because you're doing the same exact thing. The same exact thing. You get me? But no, if they see him not doing the job and listen, you just, for some reason, because you have some people that get in position and they be like, okay, you got us to a point to where we have successful season consistently. But what boss be like, but I need, or whoever the son-in-law be like, but I need to get to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Would you consider that as a failure too? If they bring in the next guy and the next guy took us to the next level, would you still consider that a failure?
I would have to look at the totality of what they did.
Okay.
That's just too that's too broad and vague for me. I would have to look at the totality of what they did because to a certain point, like certain people can only get you to certain plateaus.
Yes.
And there's other people that just have the innovation to take it further. But we're not going to negate the building blocks of it, right?
Right. So they build a winning culture, but it don't come with Super Bowls. And you bring in a new GM that gets you the Super Bowl, I would consider that as a fail because we didn't have that winning culture before we got Sully and all them. I'm like, that was success. And he also didn't stop evaluating and said, well, you got us to this level, but now we're trying to reach this level. And you move on and bring someone in. That's how I evaluate owners because you maybe you just use them as a stepping stone. Look what Kansas City did with Alex Smith. You get what I'm saying? You brought a winning culture, and then now all of a sudden they Super Bowl contenders. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Okay, Lou, you got anything else? You've been
Well,
quiet for a little bit.
I was just listening to the conversation, letting y'all go back and forth. On the right side of, well, what I'm looking at is, so this first topic is about Tom Garfinkel.
And Ross.
Ross and Garfinkel.
Okay, Ross and Garfinkel. Well, listen,
Brandon Stewart is next. So.
everybody, right? Everybody knows that I love Stephen Ross, so I'm gonna leave that there. And I'm just happy now that Tom Garfinkel is back to selling T-shirts and magazines and stuff like that. So yeah, that would be my assessment from that standpoint. Listening to the conversation, man, I am glad. Now I will give them a passing grade because someone finally told Tom Garfinkel, go back to the office and sit down. Go draw, man. Go color somewhere in the corner. So yeah. Listen, I think this has been a great 46 minutes. I've learned a lot. Tom Garfinkel is back coloring, doing coloring books and stuff in the office. All right, cool. I get it. Yeah, I'm all in. I'm on board.
All right, let's get to where you want to go then. Let's go straight into a Brandon Short. He hired Sully. He's been handling our contracts. And he has found a way to manage this salary and the cap. Lou, you haven't been able to, give us your thoughts on the various contracts that were signed during, your hiatus. Thankful that you're back. Just want to put that in there. And make sure you guys are hitting the like button, please, and vote on the poll. Just got to throw that in there.
Like and subscribe. Yes. Always
like and subscribe. What are your thoughts on Brandon Shore and what he has done during this offseason and his promotion? So shout out to him.
Insanity, my good brother probably thinks that I'm going to argue with him about Brandon Shore. I'm not. I had already argued with him about Brandon Shore last season. Our debate was Brandon Shore doing too much last season? He was a contract guy. He shouldn't be making football decisions. Hey, listen, whether you like the decisions or not, just go in there, get on the calculator, crack the numbers, and make it work. That was my debate. You know what I also used to say about Brandon Shore last season? I used to love the contracts he was giving out. He's always been good at it. So from this standpoint, look, he got a promotion. Cool. It's good to know people in high places. We all know that Stephen Ross likes to work with his friends. Brandon Shore is obviously one of those collective buddies of his. With that being said, I like how he structures, again, a lot of contracts. I look at the Devon Achane contract, Tone, Insanity, we've been other places, and there's been a hot topic of conversation about what was Achane going to receive. When I look at the contract, I think Brandon Shore and the organization hit a home run. We were also having conversations about Aaron Brewer, looking at across what some centers across the league were getting in free agency and signing for. Again, salute to Brandon Shore for getting a now voted top 3 center in the league, and an all-pro player coming off last season. Again, I look at that contract, Brandon Shore, he hit a home run on that. I really don't have no issues with Brandon Shore as long as he's doing the contracts, because again, in my opinion, he's very, very good at that. And now moving forward with his promotion and I guess his role becomes bigger, I guess I got to take a wait and see approach, right? I guess we could say he did one move, right? He brought in John Eric Sullivan. I guess that was the task. You can go hire the general manager. Okay, cool. If you want to say he did a good job with hiring Sully, that's fine. Again, I think 2 things should be true. I like John Eric Sullivan and some of the moves he's made. I also think that we've seen some clear failures in John Eric Sullivan as well. And, I'll highlight them in the next topic. But as far as Brandon Shore, listen, I'm taking a wait and see approach from the promotion side of it. Like moving forward, we got to see how he keeps going. But as far as the contracts and the way he structures them, the way he sets up the outs to get out of them and things of that nature, nah, bro, I think Brandon Shore, at least from the little bit of knowledge that I have about capologists, because I guess every team has a numbers guy, a guy that sets the contract, knows all the numbers, sets the books, all that. I would say, in my opinion, Brandon Shore is probably one of the best in the business, right? I don't know about all 32 teams, so I can't come out here, Tone and Vincenti, and say he's the absolute best at it. But I would think going through outside of let's say Tua, right? Because Listen, you gave Tyreek a lot of money. He gave you two 1,800-yard seasons, right? I mean, you got Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, that's a failure, but it wasn't. Well, either way, listen, there's going to be hits and misses. I'll say this about Brandon Shore, and I'll throw it to Tone. Um, Moving forward again, I got to see how he does in the promotion role, right? The things that they now asking him to do. But again, from a pure number standpoint, Brandon Shore has always, since he's been here, he's done a really, really good job, in my opinion, structuring and getting ins and outs of these contracts. I'll say that for Brandon Shore.
So before I get into no, Von Joe, Brandon Shore didn't bring in Troy Aikman. You remember they reached out to Jimmy Johnson first, and Jimmy Johnson suggested that they reach out to Troy Aikman. So that's how Troy Aikman came aboard, and his relationship was with Tom Garfinkel. So I wouldn't give Brandon Shore the that contract. I mean that credit for that. Brandon Shore was credited for being the one that had the search for the GM and hiring them. So Troy Aikman brought them the candidates, and Brandon Shore was the one who made the decision on who they were going with, which is what they were saying. He was the final decision making on that process. So just to clarify that. Now, with Brandon Shore, yes. Shout out. This is who I want to talk about. I'm sorry, I thought we was on the other side, but listen, my brother, he said it pretty good, but he left out some key points.
This couple,
not key points. He did give him full credit. Let me not say key points, but I want to go in detail, as in the difference between this capologist now that he make the full decision is he not only the capologist, but he's negotiating. He's the head negotiator when it comes to contract, which means now he has full, control on how much they get paid and how he's structured. He's just not handcuffed to just the structure. It's how much they get paid, which I think my brother and Luke, Lou and for you too, we all agree how much we got Achan and Bro. Those are deals. We agree on that. So now
Those are steals. Yeah, those are steals.
And so not only did we feel like we got steals in those deals, we also felt like the way that he structured it to where even if the team does move off of them sooner before the end of the contract, the team is not handcuffed with the dead cap. See, now that's the part that was left out when we had our previous GM and when it came to negotiating these contracts. What happened with the outs? Everything is not going to be perfect. Notice that's going to be my common theme when I evaluate people. It's not going to be perfect. So you have to understand that in your job. So you need to have outs so you can be successful. Every GM does this. Every GM does this. Go to your best team that you felt like been ran well. What do they master at? Not allowing their failures to handcuff them. And not being able to position yourself to where you can pivot if things doesn't work out. These are the things that we have to go into and say the nuances of a team. Because for us to think and sit back here and think, let's just stick on Brandon Shore, that he's going to, everyone he give a contract is going to pan out, that we're being delusional. And we're not being realistic. So how you further evaluate him is saying, okay, how are you structuring these contracts? Dude, are you being proactive and not reactive? Because the problem is they was not only what they giving money out left and right. Tyreek, you get a contract. Waddle, you get a contract. Jalen Ramsey, you get a contract. Zach Sealer, you get a contract. Matter of fact, Mike McDaniel and Greer, y'all also get. They were throwing contracts out left and right. But inside those contracts, there's no outs. So you were stuck with them, which means they had to be there during the entirety of that contract, or you're stuck paying them and it's killing you on a dead cap to where you cannot even go pay someone else and replace them because you handcuffed with that money. Not the way Brandon Shore been doing it. Okay, yeah, you earned your contract, but guess what? I have to have the outs. I have to protect this franchise as well. That's the difference. When we was arguing for Brandon Shore, we was like, yo, he's only, we look how he structured the contract. We all agree with how it was. It's not his fault that Chris Greer didn't take the out when it was there. And he decided to fight him or move off of him after it's going to kill us in the dead cap. Now we can put the full responsibility on him. hey, you negotiating these contracts and you structuring them. So if your GM move off of these contracts, you are responsible for putting the outs in there and protecting his team. And so far, with the two contracts that he had, he's done exactly that. And I'm not gonna let people gloss over that. No, because we have the most in history. The most, like I'm talking about the most in history. With hold on, y'all. Thank you. Thank you so much. See, Finsani, all you don't do that. Thank you, Sean. My mic is not on. Appreciate you.
I can hear you clear as day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
Now I
you
hear the
sounded
difference.
fine.
right. But
Yeah, I
now,
do hear the difference now. Yeah.
I can definitely hear the difference.
okay. So shout out to you, Sean. Appreciate you. But at the end of the day, yes, I'm not letting people gloss over the fact of how Brendan Shure not only gave us good contract, which seems team friendly, but he also gave us outs to where even if it don't pan out, then guess what? Go ahead, Jim. You got the leeway to move off of him and continue to build the team, right? Because what do we want to do? And let's just say they say draft, retain, right? And then draft, develop, and retain. But you're not. Everyone is not going to pan out. So what are you going to do with the guys that even after you try to develop them, they just not develop to the point that you need them, that you can retain with them? What are you going to do with those? You got to move them out and bring some people in. Well, you need money for that. So if you're not taking that into account before you construct your contract, then you failed at your job. That's why on every position is I say you're not one thing is not. I'm not gonna say, okay, you know what? We got him for the cheap. That's cool. Now your job is done. No. Okay, you got it for the cheap, but what if he don't work out? You constantly have to evaluate how you do things. You got it. You have to be proactive and not reactive. And I think all of these contracts have been proactive. All of them. And I'm also going to give him credit for if it was said the way they said it was, and he was the main decision maker on who the GM was. My brother, for me, you're 2 for 2. 2 for 2. You brought in a GM that I'm fine with, and this is my personal opinion. I'm cool with it. I think is the type of GM that I was looking forward to. The biggest, my number one thing was I say when we get a GM in here, I want a GM that don't care about the front office, the ownership, and don't care about what these fans do. I want a GM that goes in there just before we hire anyone. It's recorded. That goes in there and said, "This is my job. If I'm successful, it's gonna be my way. If I fail, it's gonna be my way." That's the only thing that I was asking for a GM, because I know that's the only way you're gonna have a successful franchise. If you got a GM that's winning and going there and say, no, man, I know what we've been missing, because the way we've been doing it haven't been working out. All these go along, getting, okay, you know what? Maybe that's not the right. Nah, no, sir. Because if we gonna be honest, Lou, you know this. Listen, you also know as well. There was big words before everybody wanted to blame to a contract on Chris Greer. That was all behind the scenes that he didn't want to pay that man. I'm not gonna change that before. I'm not gonna change that now because he got paid and all that and say, oh well, Chris Greer. No. What I'm gonna blame you for is not putting your foot down and say, man, I'm making this decision because my job is on the line. That's the difference of how I'm looking at it and evaluating them. But yeah, shout out to Brendan Shure, my main man. You know what I'm saying? Brendan Shure, and Shure we trust.
Yeah, I guess just to echo you guys, so far I'm liking the role that Brendan Shure has played within the organization. Right now we can't be too upset with the contracts. I'm very interested to see what the numbers are going to look like for Jordan Brooks. If that gets done before training camp, because that was a big question on if he would get done before training camp. Just to, throw it out there, he was ranked number 67 on the NFL 100.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Jordan Brooks. I'm happy for you. Let's go get into the top.
We still confident that he's gonna get the contract?
Am I still confident? Ooh,
yeah.
It's giving like that feel of like it might happen like right before. Like for some odd reason, like I don't know. Do I think it's right now? My confidence level, which I would say is probably at like a 63.
Okay.
It was like high 90s. Now I'm at the 63. I don't see.
getting a little sketchy, get skeptical
I'm
over there, huh?
listen because it's getting closer, and it's like,
Right.
and it's like, what are you waiting for? Like what? Hey,
Make sure y'all hit the like button, man.
I,
I feel like
I, I
this.
think I think
And
it's
subscribe.
given. I think it's give and take though for insanity, right? Because I'm with you. I think they're playing a game of how's that game go? Chicken and mouse or mouse and chicken or
Cat and
whatever.
mouse, cat and mouse.
Cat and mouse. That's what they're doing. I think the issue that they're having, right, is I don't think they're that far off the money, right? I think money wise, I think the Dolphins would be able to meet Jordan Brooks somehow, some way. Because what the guy we're just talking about, Brandon Short, he's good at his job, negotiating, structuring this, that, and the third. So I think that part is fine. What I think is the holdup is they view Jordan Brooks as a foundational piece. We know that's what Sully said when he highlighted the 4 or 5 guys when he highlighted. The issue is, I think Jordan Brooks, and I think it's safe to say he's 29, he'll be 30 here soon. He realizes this is probably his last time to get a bag, right? And
A
I
big
think,
bag, yeah.
well, again, right? Considered a big bag, Tone. I'm with you. What I think the holdup is the Dolphins are more they got him this year. So let's say you give him a 2-year deal on top of this one, give him a little signing bonus, this, that, and the third. I think the Dolphins would have already signed him if it was a 2-year deal. I think what Jordan Brooks is looking for is a long-term extension, like a 4-year deal, right? And I think the Dolphins are hesitant on that. And to Finsanity's point, I do think ultimately a deal will get done, but I think Jordan Brooks and his representation is just playing hardball, right? Like, hey, we don't need it right now. The season hasn't started yet. But once we get into training camp and even to Finsanity's point, maybe right before training camp, I think Jordan Brooks is going to have to be the one to budge because the guys we talked about, Sully seems like he's a no-nonsense kind of guy. Halfley also. And Brandon Shore, for the most part, the way he structures and the way he kind of stalled A-Chain a little bit, kind of stalled Aaron Brewer a little bit. I think they're not going to fold. So I think in this situation, if my scenario is correct, Tone and Finsanity, I think if Jordan Brooks is more willing to take a 2-year extension instead of holding out for a 3-4 year deal, I think it gets done. Now, if Jordan Brooks wants to say, nah, bro, listen, I need 3 to 4 years, I think possibly this could be Jordan Brooks plays the first 7-8 weeks with the Dolphins, and then possible at the trade deadline, hey, we getting you up out of here.
You in these trades.
I'm not gonna lie, Lou. I'm completely on the opposite of that. I disagree with that. I think the franchise, you gotta at least give them 3 to 4 years. Like a 2-year deal that
at 30 years old. At 30,
yes. Listen to me. Listen, because a 2-year deal favors the player. Let's not forget that. The cap, you don't have no wiggle room to structure that contract. If they're good with the money, so we know the money at, you got to give yourself 3 to 4 years to structure it out to where it don't hurt the team. If you always look for, guys, especially if they don't trust them to give them the longest extension and say, I'm gonna get the big. If he's trying to get his biggest bag, he know that bag is gonna come between a 3 and a 4 year extension. This is facts. If the team, if you agree, like if they met him with the money wise, and we know he want all pro money. No, a 2-year deal do not, because that has to hit the cap next year in 28 immediately. There's no wiggle room in that. Nowhere. Like there's no way to spread out that signing bonus. Nothing. So in order to do, like usually when you do a 2-year deal, it's a prove deal. Even Malik Willis deal is 3 years, and it's a 2-year prove deal, but they needed that 3rd year to structure it, to spread it out so it don't hurt the cap.
Okay, Tone, we'll give him a 3-year deal. What I'm saying is that 3-year deal is not going to be 3 years of guaranteed money. It's going to be
no,
the next
right,
2
right.
years.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So right,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, and to your point, and Brandon Shore's point of how he structured the contract. Again, you can give him a 9-year deal. After the 2 years, right from now, you got an out, and it doesn't hurt the team. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's how all of this. Malik Willis contract is structured like that. A-Chain contract is structured like that, and Aaron Brewer is structured. So they've been doing that, but all of them got 3 and 4 year deals. All of them.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's fine. Give them whatever. What I'm saying is, it realistically it's going to be a 2-year deal, though, where they can get off of them, because that's what they listen. And we talked about it. We were all high on draft day when they drafted Jacob Rodriguez. I'm sorry, you drafted that player in the second round. You did that for a reason.
Exactly. Yes.
The writing is on the wall. You're not going to have Jordan Brooks here for the next 3 to 4 years, is all I'm saying. So, to your point, Tone, for the structure wise, yeah, possibly has a 3-4 year deal. But I also think, again, it'll be this year, and then 2 years after that, when he's 32-ish or whatever. Now there's an out to where, hey, you'll see you later.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
hands
That's
down,
all I was saying. You said it better though. I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, they got everyone like that. One thing about it, all these guys that they signed, y'all not rookies. Oh, y'all got 2 years. It say 4 years. It say a 4-year extension, but we already looked at them contract. Oh no, you got 2, right? You got 2 because it don't hurt our cap at all after that second year. Doesn't. So whether and I like the way they structured, whether it's a designated or they just simply flat out cut them post June. You don't have to designate them. So if you save a lot more if you designate, or but even if you don't designate, it still don't kill you in the salary cap if you just flat out cut them. And I love the way that they structured them. And good, you can, even with Jacob Rodriguez, he could play right alongside of Jordan Brooks. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, you can develop him and have Jordan Brooks earn that contract at the same time. And I think, again, Lou, that's being proactive. And these are the type of things that we need. But
absolutely,
that 2 years. Oh yeah, in actuality, and I know because it's like how we talk about. Okay, the contract say 100 mil, but he's only guaranteed 75.
That's it.
That's what I'm focusing on. So the contract gonna say 4, but we know he's only playing 2 of them years. They getting off him in 2 years. Okay,
absolutely.
From that standpoint, okay.
Now that we decided that, Insanity, I got a question for you, so you can get in on this topic. Money wise, from a guaranteed standpoint, how you want to answer it per year, I guess, or whatever. What do you think would be a generous amount? You just said he just made the top 100 list, 67 overall. He was an all-pro player last year, has led the league, I believe, in tackles the last 2 years. So, Insanity, we've done it for Achane, we did it for Brewer. Number-wise that you would feel comfortable with moving forward with Jordan Brooks?
Let me look up.
Is it guaranteed or average? Yeah. What are you talking about? Okay,
I'm just talking about the guarantee. Now, however, if she wants to do it by years, Finsanity, or you want to do it per year, like 14, 15, 16, however you want to do it, Finsanity.
Let me go see where the top linebackers are paid at. Oh, you got it, Tone?
Yeah, but this is the thing about that, which I don't like. Okay. Because they have the guys like the edge rushers and the outside linebackers under linebackers. So these contracts
I don't like that
crazy.
Neither.
But I would say so. The Fred, let's just go to Fred. Let me see. So Fred Warner, right, he's at the value. He has a 60. So he has a 3-year, $63 million contract. The guarantees is 4 on there. 40. I'm sorry. The guarantee is 40. So you have that, and then Algier. So Algier, he's the second highest, right under him. He's about, his contract is 3 years, $54 million with 38 guaranteed. Zach Bond is the third person. His contract is $51 million, 3 years, $51 million with 34 guaranteed.
Okay.
So
run them back to me, but only give me the guarantee because you're putting a lot of numbers in my head.
Okay, so guaranteed for the top paid linebacker, actual linebacker. Let's not, you know what I'm saying?
Middle linebacker.
Yeah, it's Fred Warner. Well, technically, Fred Warner. Let's just say Fred Warner. So guaranteed. Fred Warner is at 40. He's the top guaranteed.
And Algier's at 37.
Algier is at 38.75.
Okay.
And then Zach Bond right under him at 34 million. Those are the guaranteed per
over
year.
3 years? These are all over 3 years?
All of them are over 3 years, yes.
I think he has to get more than Zach Bond. I feel like he's better than Zach. I feel like he's better than Zach. I'm sorry. I can't. You don't agree that he's better than Zach? I might get some flack from
you. Talk about me? You talk about me?
Huh?
You talk about me? You talk about me?
Zach Bond.
You think Jordan Brooks is better than Zach Bond?
Zach Bond was a catalyst in that Super Bowl year for Philly, though. He was a catalyst there.
He was. Absolutely.
I do.
but he's still better. Like, do we need to run down that Philly defense respectfully?
Yeah. Look what he got in
Sometimes you
front of
look
him.
better than what you are. Like, let's go look at Zach last year. I mean, it wasn't as impactful as the year before, respectfully. He's better than Zach. So if I'm his agent, and he's asking for that, I would feel like that's where somewhere he would want to be at.
Did,
Respectfully.
did y'all get a chance to see the because I know we did it. We did a breakdown, but y'all get a chance to see how Jordan Brooks broke down how they stopped James Cook?
No,
Did
I
y'all
didn't
get
watch that video yet.
Ooh-wee. You talk about Fitzgerald, you would have liked it because with him, you know how you notice the stance in the
Mhm.
Panthers? He noticed how he square up when they run the stretch, and it's not normally and Lou, watch what attack. You see what I'm saying? Instead of that reaction, he was always attacking. He said, as soon as he cut, I cut. I went. He didn't no second guesses, no nothing in the film room. So, but yeah, I'm cool with that numbers. I think
Oh,
you
no. Well, real quick, because Algier, you said was at 38. Zach Bond was
38,
at 34, right?
34,
So
guaranteed.
Insanity, you're saying somewhere in between that, right? Because you're
Yeah.
not putting him over Shazier, are you?
So that's
No.
11. That's 11 something. You know, for so it got to be 11. Maybe can't be 12.
Yeah, it can't be 12. It can't be 12.
So
Respectfully.
he got to be 11. You, no, it has to be barely over 11. 11.25 a year.
Yeah. Well. Listen. Again, I'm not going to argue that much if you want to pay him. Again, anywhere between 34 to 38. If you want to put him at 35, 36, okay, cool. But again, if you're telling me Fred Warner, and I think we all agree, when he's on the field and he's healthy, he's the best middle linebacker in the game.
Yeah.
If he's making 40 guaranteed, bro, like Jordan Brooks has to be under that.
Facts.
Yeah.
Shazier as well, like 38. Like man, we're pushing it at that point.
Yeah. No, I don't think he should get paid neither better than either one of them. No.
No. Absolutely not.
So, and he was a third team All Pro, and it's only listen. So technically, you the third. You was rated the third highest linebacker last year. So that's the best we can do for you, my good brother.
Mhm.
You know, we got to be honest. We love. I think we all love Jordan Brooks. We all watch him and we love the way he played. But we got to be honest and we got to be fair. At as he up here as fans and say, well, we have to, like Lou always say, and we always say the same thing, right? We got to put the logo first.
Oh yeah.
There's only so much we can do as a fan. Be like, man, I wish you could stay here, but not at the cost of the rest of the franchise or the rest of the team. So yeah.
Well, I think, and again, I think another thing that factors is his age. I think this would, at least for me, I'm not going to speak for Insanity or Utah, but what I will say, off the 2 years since Jordan Brooks has been here, been productive, right? I think he's been
Yes.
better than advertised when we first signed him to where we are now. I think he's outseated our expectations. He's lived up to
Clearly
expectations. I would
exceeded it,
say,
yeah.
right? If for me, if Jordan Brooks was 25 years old, I think I would be more willing to entertain, you know what I'm saying? Because I see Mike Best putting in, do you think the cost of living wages and this, that, and the third versus Warner and stuff? I don't think I would say living wages, but I do think coming off 2 seasons now, and Tone, you're like this, because when the argument with Tua, well, make him play on the 5th-year option to make him do it the 2nd year, right? Jordan Brooks has given us 2 good years. Off of that standpoint, the only reason I'm more hesitant of waiting or not giving him as much is because he's 29. I think during the season he'll end up being 30. But if he was 25, let's say, Tone for Insanity, 26, I think he could get closer to the Algier and Warner. I think age for me plays a big deal in it. I don't know how y'all feel, but listen, as Tone just said it, we got to think about the logo. We also got to think, again, we're building for the future.
Yes.
And as much as I love Jordan Brooks and from the mindset, the leadership, everything that he brings, he's not in the future plans. Again, he's closer to in a golf term, he's on the back 9. He's not on the front 9. You see what I'm saying? Of his career.
Yeah.
So that age for me plays a big part of it as well, Tony Insanity.
Yeah.
So what would you give him, Lou? I'm just curious because.
Well, no, I think you and Tone were spot on. Again, I'm not going to argue over a million here, a million there. If y'all think he's better than Zach Bond, I'm not going to argue that. Zach Bond had a good season 2 years ago, the Super Bowl winning year. Not so much last season. So I'm with y'all. Again, if Bond is at 34, you want to give Jordan Brooks 35, 36, cool. But nah, he's not. I'm not giving him the 38.5 that Shazier making or the 40 million that Fred Warner's making. But 35, 36, yeah, I'd be good with that.
But do y'all think, because I mean, you guys said for like, 2 and then you have the out, right? Do you think that Jordan Brooks can play consistently the way he has for the next 2 seasons, barring,
I do.
crazy?
Yeah, I do. I don't like. So we have linebackers playing at a high level,
Right.
in the early to mid 30s all the time. Now, I believe at least leading up to his early 30s. Not, he can see now if he wants to stay on the team after that, because I know we're building for the future.
Mhm.
That's when, okay, if you want to stay on this team, you got to start taking these veteran team friendly deals, because we can keep you around as a veteran, kind of like what we did Calais Campbell. Like, okay, you want to be a veteran to stick around, but you're not yourself. He gave us great value. He played at a top level D tackle when he was here, but that contract has to add up, because we got to get these young guys in, and then eventually we got to start thinking about paying these young guys that they panned out, especially when you listen. To Lou point, when you take and you invest a second round pick on a linebacker, that's basically saying that's your starter, because that's like taking them in the first round. Just look at what linebackers go when you. That's like taking you in the first round, my good brother. So that means they very high on him, and they actually said they thought he was going in the first round. They were surprised he was there. So that tell you everything that you need to know of what they think about him. Jordan Brooks, you got to understand, either you're playing behind him or alongside of him. You get what I'm saying? It going in the future, and you have to understand that after this contract, which is why I'm kind of on the same line as Lewis. That's kind of what the problem is. Hey, listen, I need to make sure this contract counts, because after this, the back nine, like Lou say, hey, yo, I'm on the back nine, and I understand. And you have to understand that as a player, we cannot forget about the business part of this game. We can't, because they go hand in hand. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, I think we're on the same page with that.
Well,
hey, listen, make sure y'all hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. The subscription is right there, and it's pinned. The pinned comment. All you gotta do is click on that comment, and it'll take you right there to subscribe. So it's easy. Y'all don't have to go nowhere. You don't even got to check the channel. Just click the link right there in the pinned comment, and it'll take you right there to subscribe. And make sure y'all like, man, hit the like button.
Okay. Well, obviously, there's a lot of variables that go into factoring what we should do with Jordan Brooks, but obviously, we all want to see him playing in the aqua and orange this year. Let's get into the guy that called him a core player that he wanted to help build this team around. John Eric Sullivan, for what it is worth, he has come in, he has said all the right things, he has stood on business, everything he said, he has done. Tony, what are your thoughts so far on Sully with hiring Halfley? What are your thoughts on his draft process? I know you mentioned some of the guys, and do you think he's correctly managing this roster? That's a lot.
Well, let's start with the last question. Yeah, correctly managing the roster. Yeah, I like the way he managed his roster, especially the fact that he understands what type of year we in. This is the only pushback, and I'm so sorry. Even though I went and watched the film and I like what I've seen, I just didn't think we was in a position to go out and take a chance on a guy like Malik Willis. Right now, by them doing that, he has to pan out. And I'm talking about immediately. This year, he doesn't have, I've been said this, he don't have the opportunity to go through the growing pains. So by them making that decision, I think the pressure is on him immediately, year one, to see some success out of him. That's the only thing I would say I'll give pushback for. I just thought you could have, went a different direction. Because, listen, again, if we end up winning 5 to 6 games, and Malik is not having that, let's say, Deshaun Watson type season, when even though they only won 5 games, he led the league in passing, and I think he was first or second in touchdown. Like, he had a game, and you say, okay, he one of the ones. If Malik don't have that, You can't justify bringing him in. You can't. So now the pressure is on him. So you that's the position you put yourself in. Now, as far as everything else, I love the way him and Brandon Short work together to sign Chan, sign Aaron Brewer, and if they sign Jordan Brooks, then they hit on every guy that they said, so far that they will build around. Now, I do want to ask a question too before I'll go forward. If they don't sign Jordan Brooks and let's say they trade him, would y'all hold that against them, or will we be cool with that?
No, I'm not gonna hold. I'm not gonna hold that against him. No.
What about you, Insanity?
I'd be cool with it because you see that he already has a game plan on what he wants to do at that position, within bringing Lewis and Rodriguez, and he's not just doing it with no backup or contingency plan to it. So I would be cool with it. Let's just go with what you think we should be doing with this roster, going younger, drafting, developing, and retaining. To his credit.
Yeah, and then I also would like, if let's say he don't get it done, it shows me the mindset. The same mindset that I've been asking. No one's perfect. Mm-hmm. So the same thing with John Eric Sullivan. Yeah, you said you want to keep all of them, but that don't mean by any means necessary. You get what I'm saying? Oh, I said I was going to keep him, and if I got to do this because I said this and I got to keep my word. No. You have to understand. Listen, yeah, I do want to keep him. He is on my line, and you are part of the future, but at what cost? Right. Where's your limit? You have to have some limits and say, well, we have to pivot. And then, like Vicente said, I have a contingency plan. We already, before the season started, they signed the contract, we already see his contingency plan. So I'm cool with it. If you hit 2 out of 3, I'm not holding that against you. You are going to get held against with that Malik Willis. Listen, I got to see how it pans out. Because he's unproven. Aaron Brewer, proven. Devon Achane, proven. If you signed Jordan Brooks, proven. You went out there and gave Malik Willis a contract. He's unproven. We have to keep that in mind. I don't care how much. Yes, I believe Malik Willis is going to be successful. But he has to. He clearly has to, for me to say that, I would say 100% hit on this season. This specifically speaking on this season and what you did this offseason. Right now he's hitting on an A for me. Right? If he hit and bring in Jordan Brooks, I'll say A+. If he trade him, depending on the compensation we get back, it's going to be an A or A-. It'll be an A or A-, and that's how I look at it. But right now, yeah, I'm giving you A+ for what you've been doing this offseason. I love the mindset. I don't agree with Caleb Douglas. Listen, bro. Hey, I don't see it. Please prove me wrong, but I don't see it. You understand me? Now, I know Lewis, a bunch of other people that, he didn't like in the draft. But as far as that, listen, I'm liking the draft, especially mentality-wise. I love the fact that you didn't go out there and say, you know what? Let me go try to bring in any type of veteran to just have veterans on this team, because the media, the Dolphins media, been crucifying. Oh, we need veterans, especially that Omar Kelly. Oh, we need veterans. This team is too young. He got to bring someone in. Man, don't crack under that pressure. You move forward the way you see fit. And I like the fact that he had a plan. He's executing his plan, and he's not straying off from his plan. So yeah, I'm good with what he's been doing. Also, my biggest, this is what I'm gonna get credit for, and this is probably gonna be the thing that Lou hates me for saying the most. My biggest thing that I'm gonna give him credit for is bringing in Jeff Hafley. That's my biggest. I don't listen. We did hear, it's out there in the public, that the front office wasn't convicted on him. They wasn't convinced. They wasn't. That was his first opportunity to see if he was going to be a Chris Greer type dude, or he was going to just come in here and be a yes man. He still got his guy. He was like, hey, listen, go in there and prove to them, because I'm already convicted on you. You're my guy. And he sent him in there and said, hey, listen, y'all can bring these people in, but this is my guy. And eventually he got his guy. I always said, listen, I don't care if it's Chris Mike Daniels wasn't Chris Greer guy. He wasn't. Front office wasn't convincing on him, and he ended up going with Mike McDaniel instead of the people that he wanted. The first time they get in here and they gave you pushback, you still went in there and got your guy. To me, I'm giving him 1,000% credit for that because that's exactly what I've been looking for. A guy that has a plan, stick by his plan, and say, I'm willing to put my neck on the line to get the team and the people that I want. This is not your team. This is my team, how I'm building. You asked me to come in and be the general manager. So let me do that job. And I'm glad for everything that he said, even to the fact when they asked about Troy Aikman, he made that very clear and concise. No, I don't even know if he could be in a room, but he's not making no decisions on who to draft. So, but yes, so no, Eric Sullivan so far is an A+ for me so far.
Lou?
Thank you, Finsanity. Yeah, me and Tom gonna argue on this one.
Okay. Kind of figured.
Yeah. Listen, all that is cute. Let me start off by saying the things that I do like, and I'll give Sully some credit. Walking into this situation with the way the money was, and again, bro, the Dolphins have 182 million of dead cap. That's what they have. You had the decision with Tua. You again, I don't think none of us believed that Tyreek was coming back, but again, Tyreek, Bradley Chubb, there was a lot of things that he did that weren't easy decisions for a first-time general manager. I like that. To the way Tone presented it, I like the guy that stands on business. I'm not disagreeing with Tone on that. What I don't like, and I'm not going to give him credit for, and again, this is just my opinion, is when you're not open-minded, I have an issue. Because again, what you did was hire your friend. That's what you did. You were convicted of hiring your friend, but you didn't do the due diligence of, again, you interviewed people, let's say. None of those people you interviewed had a chance besides Jeff Hafner. Because from day one, you said that was your guy. So you weren't, again, if I'm interviewing you, Finsanity, and you, Tone, but I'm already, before the interviews, I got this relationship with Finsanity. I don't care what kind of great candidate Tone comes in, blows my doors off in the interview process. It ain't gonna matter. Finsanity is getting that job. Am I doing the right thing for the business I run? Am I doing the due diligence for the business I run? If I'm just gonna hire my friend over, let's say, maybe a better candidate that walked into the office. So from that standpoint, I'm not giving you credit for hiring your friend. All you're telling me is you're taking the identity of the owner. The owner for years has hired and kept, we talked about the word retain. What has Stephen Ross did for all these years? Retain people around him that, again, he liked. It wasn't necessary getting the job done. He kept them around because he liked them. So no, I don't like that from John Eric Sullivan. Another thing I don't like about John Eric Sullivan, and again, my good brother, he always talks about keeping the same energy. Well, let's keep the same energy. Outside of Jacob Rodriguez and let's say maybe Chris Johnson, right?
Chris Bell.
Well, I was gonna say Chris Bell, but go ahead.
Chris Bell. You know what? I forgot. There were so far and few in between good picks in the draft. I forgot them. What I don't like people doing, and I'm not saying y'all two at this point. I'm just saying in general, right? We're talking in general. Mm-hmm. If Chris Greer drafted Caleb Douglas, what are we saying? That he failed. If Chris Greer drafts Police Academy, what are we saying? That he failed. If Chris Greer drafts a fullback at pick 87, what are we saying? He failed. But because it's the honeymoon phase, remember when I mentioned the honeymoon phase earlier? The fans also have a honeymoon phase with this new regime because the boogeyman, remember the boogeyman Brian Flores? It started with Brian Flores, the boogeyman. Oh, once we got the boogeyman out the building, we got McGenius. Oh, tides are turning in Miami until they weren't. Remember when we got the boogeyman Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel out the building? Oh, look, again, we're here in the honeymoon stage. I don't care if your name's Chris Greer, Mike McDaniel, Brian Flores, John Eric Greer, Sullivan, however you want to call him, Tom Garfinkel. He clearly missed in this draft. And the reason I know that, and I can sound so confident on this panel, is because the two people I watched the draft with, we weren't excited for Will Kazmarek. Now, we could come out here and pretend
we didn't know who he was either.
Exactly. You know who else didn't know who he was? Any other
Who?
team in the league.
That's a lie.
Please, the only guy that knew
We didn't
Will
know who
Kazmarek
Patrick
was
Paul
John
was
Eric
when
Sullivan.
Chris Greer drafted him either. Look how that's turned out.
Well, again, Chris
We,
Greer
we,
also
we,
drafted.
we was killing him for it.
Chris Greer also drafted Javon Achane, but I'm gonna leave that alone.
He also he also drafted Noah Igbenati.
He also drafted Jordan Phillips.
And he also drafted Channing Tindall.
And he also drafted Jalen Watt.
Every time you say a good person, I'm gonna tell you a bad person.
Well,
and the bad is terrible. He traded up to go get Liam Eichenberg.
John
Traded
Eric
up
Sullivan,
to go get Jalen Wright.
John Eric Sullivan also traded up. Not only traded up, right, and gave up a 3rd round pick, he also traded Jalen Waddle for Chris Johnson.
Okay, cool. But we don't see how Chris Johnson panned it out yet. You talk about people that they failed.
I'm just telling you,
these people already failed.
No. I didn't say none of these people failed. What I'm saying
No, I'm talking about the people that I'm calling that Chris Greer drafted. They failed.
Yeah, I don't think Jalen Waddle is a failure.
I'm talking about the names that I gave you: Liam Eichenberg, Channing Tindall.
So you just want to talk about the bad? Okay, cool.
No. When you gave a good, I'm saying, well, he also did this, because the difference is what you're trying to do is and you always do this, right? You say, oh, if Chris Greer would have did this, then we would have killed him. You know what you conveniently leave out every time? Chris Greer has been doing this for a better part of 8 to 9 years straight, felon.
And
that's why he deserves to get criticized.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Tone, because I'm with you. He did it consistently for 7, 8, 9 years. You know who should know failure then? Us. Because we watched it. We know what failure looks like. We know what picking bad players looks like. Should we not?
We know players that we don't like.
If you're telling me
we know players that we like, because you know what the difference is. This is the problem. Because you call him bad player. I didn't say Will Kazmarek is a bad player. I looked at Will Kazmarek and said, "Oh, he give me the Gray Zabel vibe." We all know Gray Zabel was one of my favorite. He was my favorite player.
I'm not asking you if he's a bad player. I'm not saying
Will Kazmarek. We know bad players. You just said that.
Well, I'm just saying, right? Do you think Will Kazmarek has a big impact this season?
Depends on how they use him. But I think, cool. I think in the running game, yeah, if they use him as that blocking tight end to aid this running game, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean that's fine.
I like that. I like mentality. I understand. See, I look at it when I go back. I appreciate those people. You want it, a lot of people. You talk about that he was a great failure. You think Kyle Lewis was a big failure?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, but they got him. He got him.
And I think and again, right there, to get a player of Kyle Lewis's caliber in the 5th round, that's a home run for John Eric Sullivan, because the evaluation of the player, you could argue, is he's more talented than a 5th round pick. You could argue that, right? You could clearly see that when you watch that player. Don't tell me that picking Caleb Douglas at pick 75, right? When me, you, and Finsanity, leading up to the draft, we're doing weekly shows on player evaluations, going through. Again, I missed that show. You and Finsanity did a big board, right? Of having. Now I know y'all didn't go all the way down to 75. All I'm saying is, when we go back, right now where we sit today, we have revisionist history, right? You couldn't have found a better player than Caleb Douglas at 75.
But we gave you Caleb Douglas. We're not arguing Caleb Douglas. Throw that one out.
Okay,
that's the one you go to.
I'll go to Will Kazmarek then.
You go to Kazmarek. No. Yes, he did. When I went back and watched the field at 87, he was worth. You know why? Because we didn't evaluate him. So we were just reacting to people that we didn't know, like we did Patrick Paul.
Cool. Absolutely. Do you think at pick 87, with what we know, you could have found a better player than Will Kazmarek at 87?
Better player at different position that we prefer.
However you want to say.
Yeah, but to help different. No, I think they had a guy that they wanted at tight end that fit the mold. He was the number 1 rated blocking tight end in the draft. And they wanted a blocking tight end, so they invested in an 87 round pick on him.
Absolutely.
Once I did my homework on him, I'm like, oh, okay, I see the vision now. I understand that. I had to do my own homework because I reacted to him like I reacted to Patrick Paul. Guess what? After going and watch Patrick Paul, changed our mindset. I'm not gonna just say I can't do that with Kazmir. Listen, I kept. I'm like, oh, I enjoy watching his film. I enjoy watching him put people on their rear ends, and I'm talking about D tackles and defensive end as a tight end.
One of their first free agent signings was Ben Sims, a tight end from Green Bay. He's a blocking tight end.
Okay, cool.
Okay, all right, cool. No, I'm just throwing it out.
The Rams run 3 tight ends. Give me the receiving tight end over there at the Rams.
So you need 3 tight ends?
That's what the Rams got, is what I'm saying. No one is killing them because they winning. So
I'm gonna give you 3 tight ends, right? Outside of Will Kazmir. You brought in Ben Sims, you re-signed Greg Dulcich, and then you drafted Police Academy in the 5th round. There's 3 tight ends.
Okay, but
so at pick 87, it's a clear miss.
With Kazmir, I mean,
it's a miss.
Traore is not. He's a developmental project. So you don't add him in like that. We know what he is. A developmental project.
He's a tight end. No, but so he can.
It don't matter. But Kazmir is on at 87.
Right.
I'm not gonna miss out on the opportunity to get a Kazmir because you think they should be cool with a Traore. No, I don't look at it.
I'm not saying they should be cool with Traore. What I'm saying is it was a reach at 87, and we can sit here and pretend like it wasn't.
It wasn't.
But and that's fine. That's you, Tone. For me, it was a reach.
Right, because you don't like him. But I'm not gonna.
No. Again, forget about. I could care less if I like him or not. He's a waste. At 87.
That's not a waste. That's a problem. That's not no, it's not. Because you know what? The same dudes that were complaining about our tight ends and how trash they was and how they was missing blocks, and now you're gonna say it's a waste when you got a guy he's the best at that.
Can I just say something?
That's not even the same energy.
We'll
Go
see.
ahead, Vicinity.
Go ahead, Lou. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Finsanity, please. Go ahead.
Because when you're saying a blocking tight end, didn't they say they wanted to solidify their trenches? Didn't they say they wanted to be a run-first offense? They're doing things. Yeah. They're doing things so that they can implement and do what they want as far as their scheme. It would have been a waste if they would have went and got someone who could not be utilized in the offensive scheme that they want to use. That would have been a waste. But you go out and you get someone young who is the best at what he does coming in.
Okay.
And he has shown to be able to do it at a prestigious school that does not hide away from talent, has to perform on the big stage, and Will Kazmir in Ohio State, and he has consistently shown to be able to do this, and you see things in him that you can feel like he can be an asset to this team and to your run game that you want to lean on, it cannot then be a waste. It can only realistically be a waste if he gets out there and he's getting put on his behind every week, or to Tone's point, when he goes to training camp and it looks like he don't even belong here. But if he is going out there and he is holding his block and he is being utilized to help this run game, if he's pulling, no matter what they need him to do, there's so many ways to be utilized. And then not only that, he is low-key an undercover agent in the passing game because his notion is to block. So
he's really undercover.
If he engages in a block and then releases and he can catch the ball for 5 yards or 2, come on.
When you say he's an undercover agent, you mean the 12 catches he had at Ohio State last year?
And they were all impactful.
I'm just asking, do you mean the chip block? Do you mean the chip block and release to the flat, the Durham Smythe? Is that what you're talking about?
And then listen,
I mean, he could be a blocking tight end.
He's the Julian Hill. Who's picking Julian Hill at pick 87?
He's not, but he's not. We seen Julian Hill. Julian Hill did not block like him. We killed Julian Hill for missing blocks. Matter of fact, bro, did we kill Julian Hill for taking out our own player?
He missed. Julian Hill 2 years ago was an absolute train wreck. Now again, we all watched all the games and we broke down the film. Do you think Julian Hill played better last season than he did 2 years ago?
Yeah, he did, but he still made points. Last season was the one where he took out his own player.
What I watched in the film breakdown of Will Kazmir, I watched him take out his own player too.
Okay.
Did you not see that?
I saw him take out both.
Okay, cool.
I saw him take out both players though.
And when Finsanity was talking about a player that can help the trenches, I completely agree. I love that answer. I completely agree. Now let's stay on the trenches. Pick 87. I think the kid Pregnon from Oregon was still on the board, right? What position
Yeah.
does he play?
He play guard.
Is that a trench? Is that on the?
But you already got them. That makes no
do guards
sense.
play? Well, you know what's crazy? We do got them. We got a tackle playing guard for us. Is what we
Okay.
got.
Okay.
Right? We also, at the other end, have the worst graded guard, wait for it, the league has ever seen.
Okay.
That's what we got at our guard position. So
Okay.
you mean to tell me you want me to believe Pregnon, right, wouldn't have been a better and helped the team more than Will Kazmaier?
No.
Okay,
It makes no sense.
well, you know what?
Makes no
got
sense.
Good.
Because
It
this
don't
is
make
not
no
Madden.
sense.
It's not Madden. You can't pass. You can't ignore the tight ends.
You got a guard. You
That
got
you
a
did-
guard.
Was he
You
the
got a
number?
guard?
Was he the number one rated guard?
Your projected guard.
Was he?
this
What was
season,
Pregnon number one in any category?
your
What was he?
Well, where was and again, I'm just asking. Maybe I'm a little confused. Where was Caden Proctor grade at guard?
At guard, I don't know, but his grade. He was
You
he was the
asking
number
me
one.
what grade? Well, I'm.
He was
it's
the
safer-
number. I said, what he's the best because you trying to
it-
switch
it's
him
safer-
out.
It's
You
safe
trying
for me to.
You
It's
trying
safe
to
for me
push
to
him
assume,
out
Zone.
for
It's
Wiz
safe for me to
Now we
assume.
got Proctor. So you
just
ready to get him than Proctor?
No. What I'm saying is, you just asked me what grade does Pregnon.
What was he number one in?
What was he number one in?
Pregnon,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
He was a higher ranked guard than our two guards that we have started.
No, he
Projected
wasn't.
started.
No, he wasn't.
So,
He
so
was
you
not.
don't think? So you
he
don't
was-
think Pregnon at guard would be better than a guy that's never played that position?
No.
All right.
I'm sorry. No, we're not doing that. I've always had this. That I say, if you get Caden Proctor and transition him to guard, that's why I think he's going to make his bones. Now, the only reason why I'm out there, because I was like, you better not get, because I thought they were going to get him to play tackle. But even if they did bring him in to play guard, I'm like, you have Vega on the board. That's the only reason I'm killing them for that. Right? But we're not going to sit here and act like Pregnon with the skills is better than Caden Proctor. No. That's a lie.
So
He
a
just played that position more.
So a position that the kid has played is not going to be. He's not going to be better than a position of a kid that's never played.
No, that's not the difference.
I strongly disagree with that. I'm sorry.
Oh, really? You strongly disagree with that?
Yeah.
You know what?
Okay, so do you think? Hold on for a second. One second. So you think Pregnon is a better guard than Grace Abel? Grace Abel played tackle in college.
Now again, I just need to. Are we predicting Caden Proctor to be?
No. Don't switch it up. No. Don't switch it.
I just need the toes on that. I just need toes.
No. Yeah, I need toes on yours because this is based on your. This is what you said. A guy that been hold on. Let me finish. No. You said a guy that's been playing that position is going to be better than a guy that haven't played that position. So I'm asking you based off your logic. Do you think Pregnon is better than Grace Abel? Because Grace Abel was a tackle and Pregnon was a guard. And you ain't going to tell me that a tackle that went to guard is not better than Pregnon. You can't tell me that.
You know what? You're right. I can't tell you that. Do you think Pregnon would have been better than Jonas Savanea?
I would assume, based on Jonas Savanea grade and the way he played, yes, I would assume he would have been better. There
you go. Problem solved.
But you still got him though. So that's the problem. You still got him. He's on his rookie contract, so he has to be on the team. You can't even get rid of him if you wanted him. And you do not make that. See, this is the mad decision. You do not bring in the guy. Hold on. You do not bring in the guy who's going to compete for a position, right? As a backup that you don't even know what you got in Jonah. You're just going based off his first season. Cool. He was terrible, but they got him there, right? And at the end of the day, you got a guy that's rated the number one blocker, which is what you need to do your philosophy and run your type of offense. You don't trade that on for a guy that be like, okay, he's back here. No, you don't do that. You get someone that you know can fit your system and you're convicted on.
And you did. You brought in Ben Sims.
Why was Pregnon so far
in? You
okay,
did.
But
you're saying they had already did that.
And they brought in Sawyer, Jamari Sawyer. So what they bringing Pregnon in for? We could play this game. Now, if at the end of the day,
right,
you have to have, you need, even if you say, okay, you got to bring them. What if they get injured? Now, aren't we the same people that say you got to have contingency plans? You got to have great depth. Now, all of a sudden, if you got one guy there, it makes no sense to bring in a guy that you think can help you play. That makes no sense. We got to keep the same energy. Do we want to build a full team with depth, or we just want to say, oh, you know, I got a guy right there, so I don't want to bring in a guy
you know what?
that's better.
You know what? I'm glad, bro, these conversations, when they're moving like this and they're flowing, right? Tone, you make great points. We do need depth. You know where we need depth at? Offensive line. Because Caden Proctor, well, cool. Just let me explain a little bit, Tone. You know who's also on that offensive line at right tackle? Austin Jackson. You know where he probably is going to be by week 4? On the bench. That probably means, guess who's going to right tackle? The guy you drafted at 12, Caden Proctor.
No, he's not. They already said he's not. No, maybe
so
Sawyer is going there.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what? All right, cool.
You forgot, huh?
I didn't forget.
They already came out and said he's not moving. They're not.
They can say what they want. Tone.
Oh, but what you say is okay.
Next season, when Austin Jackson's off this team, and Fincenti as well, where do you think Caden Proctor's going next season?
They most likely they're gonna move him to right tackle.
They can say what they want. If Austin Jackson is off this field, Caden Proctor is not playing guard that following week.
Yes, he is. Lou, stop doing it. Yes, that's what they said.
We'll see.
Yes, he is. You can't just say that because you want. No, they already said they're not moving him.
I'm saying we'll see. That's all I'm saying. We'll see.
We'll see. Right. You know what? We will see. Yeah, we do know Austin Jackson has a high probability to get injured. We know that. That is a huge probability. So let's see if they move him or if they keep him there, because they brought in a couple. Well, let's see how the roster panned out. Actually, let's see how it panned out to see how many tackles they keep, see how many swing guys that they keep as well. Yeah, let's see. And then also they brought in a guard too. Remember, they did bring in a guard.
They did. I think that kid Campbell from Texas. Absolutely.
From Texas. DJ Campbell. Right. They brought him in there.
So absolutely. All I was trying to say, Tone, and again, I'm telling you the things I don't like about John Eric Sullivan. Mm-hmm. I think there were clear misses in the draft. That's all I'm saying. You have a difference of opinion, and we'll see when the season plays out, or 2-3 years down the line when we're still on this channel and hopefully growing and this, that, and the third. We'll see who's ultimately right. But just how you came out and when you were talking about Sully and gave him 100%, you validate everything. Oh, he did this. Again, I told you certain things that I like, right? But to your point, and you said it all show, nobody is perfect. No. John Eric Sullivan missed in this draft. Point blank period. Point blank period. Like what are we talking about? He missed in the draft. Y'all make it seem like I wasn't on the show with y'all.
Yeah, but we didn't know these people. We didn't know these people, so we that wasn't an honest evaluation.
We still don't know these people.
I do,
but that's the thing. Like every GM is going to have a miss. We still got to evaluate. We got to see what fruits and bears. And to your point about a tackle playing guard, there has been plenty of tackles who play guard. We once had a tackle that we drafted play left guard. And then got kicked out because we already had a tackle in place. But we don't need to get into, the history of the Dolphins.
He did the same thing with Laremy Tunsil.
Exactly.
You ain't gonna tell me.
And then when he got kicked out, sometimes you got to have that knowledge. Sometimes it's good to have that, like, those vets right next to you for you to get comfortable. Some guys do get kicked out there, and they look bad, respectfully. Mm-hmm. But I like that this team isn't trying to rush Proctor. Like, they said his plan is to play guard, but like this, they're developing him, but they want him out on the field. They want him getting acclimated to the physicality, to the speed of this game, so that if they do need to move him out there, he's a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more ready for what's going to come at him on that football field, respectfully. And then being able to have the mind of Aaron Brewer and Patrick Paul. Oh man, it's going to be, and he's already a dog, so it's going to be a beautiful thing. If the Dolphins can ever truly find, some guards or whatever, and we can kick that man out there where we're comfortable and this line is solidified, where you have Paul, Brewer, and then Proctor out there, oh man, what a beautiful thing. it would be chef's kiss. But right now, we need him at guard, and that's where he's gonna be at. Respectfully, hey Lou, nice. I'm happy you're back.
Absolutely, I'm glad to be back. Did the Dolphins? And I'm asking, did the
Oh.
Dolphins make all 13 picks this season?
I don't think so because they
Well,
traded.
was it 12? Was it 12
Well,
picks they brought
I think they still end up getting 13 because they got some picks back. So yeah, I think they did make 13.
Okay, listen.
Even though they traded the third, they got 2 fifths back. So yeah.
Okay, let's just say 13. Insanity Tone, out of 13 picks, how many do you think were hits? Or that's going to, when we look 3 years down the line, right? How many of these players do you think are going to be hits in year one? Out of 13.
Probably 6 or 7.
Can you name them?
Chris Johnson, Caden Proctor, Jacob Rodriguez, Chris Bell,
right?
Kyle Lewis.
Okay.
My dog, Kazmarek.
Kazmarek. Okay.
That's 6 right there.
Right.
And I don't know about the linebacker more. And I'll say your boy, what's your boy? That plays safety.
Laffy Taffy.
Yeah, Taff. Yeah. Now I say them 7. Right. Yeah.
7. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You Insanity, you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Well, how many do you think? Hold on, you even just put that pressure on now. How many do you think?
Well, I'm just gonna go off your list. I'm just gonna mention those 7 because the other guys, there's no.
No. How many you don't think they're gonna pan out? So how many you think they're gonna hit?
Well, the only reason I was going off your list, Tone, because the other guys don't matter. I was just gonna start erasing the ones you said.
Okay.
When you say hit, what do you mean by that? Like they become starters? Like what does a hit mean?
Contributors. I would say DP.
Well, I would say, okay, if you want to say contributors, yeah, then you might have a 0.6 or 7. I'm saying 3 years down the line, we look at this draft and we're like, man, these guys are upper echelon of their position. They're really having an impact on this football team. Is what I'm saying. Now, okay, cool, you can contribute, right? But I'm talking about 3 years down the line where we're.
So you mean 6, 7, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round have to be upper echelon in their position? What?
Well, that's why you went all the way from 5th, 6th, and 7th. We drafted Kazmarek in the 3rd. I don't think Kazmarek 3 years down the line, we're looking at him and we're like, man.
But he got to be an upper echelon at a 3rd round pick, or can he be
a 3rd round pick, a top 100 player in this draft?
Have to be upper echelon
in 3 years? No, again, forget about the word upper echelon. I gotta feel you making an impact on this team. Pause. You gotta be a guy, a top 100 player, a 3rd round pick, and 3 years down the line, I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know what? I can pinpoint this guy. If the next 3 years from now, this year, next year, and the year after the Dolphins are top 3, top 5, right? Not even 3, 5 unit in rushing. I'm like, damn, what they told me about Will Kazmarek is right. He was an elite blocking tight end. He was the best blocking tight end. 3 years.
He always in the top 10. That's not good enough.
Well, okay, cool. So top 10.
I'm just asking you, what? Because if he's a great blocker, and he's doing his job, and let's just say Achane is not here, but he's still here, and our running back's just not getting the job or just not finding the openings, are we still gonna kill him just because they're not top 10? What if he's doing his job?
What do you mean by doing your job?
Blocking, holding his blocking, creating the lanes that he's supposed to create.
Yeah.
If you're looking on that, you constantly contributing.
No, I gotta see impact. I gotta see impact.
At a 3rd round, come on, bro.
Well, here's my thing. Also, the point is to always consistently be getting better players so your roster can get better. You're gonna develop them, right? And I can, for all we know, they might draft someone next year that's going to be better than the guy that they drafted this year. But that guy can still be a contributor. It's just that they did their job and got a better player in replacement of that. So when you say that and you want to just hold it to 1 year, their job isn't just about this one draft. Their job is about every single draft that they get and how they develop and build and manage this roster, to Tone's point. So for what we're doing right now, it'll be interesting to see what they do, but let's not just evaluate them on this one draft, because if they can go out, if you want to use Kasmeric, right, and get a tight end that is going to better be utilized in their scheme, right, then cool. It is what it is. Their job is to go out there, let these players play, evaluate them, evaluate the roster, and see where we need to improve and where we need to invest these draft picks at. And it is what it is. I don't think that, they want to draft, develop, retain, but it does not mean that they're, not going to bring in other players. There's always free agency. There's other ways to make this roster better. There's trades, all these things. So we will evaluate the players and the rosters and how they do. But it's like, to Tone's point, you're not going to hit on everything, but how do you correct that when you don't? What is the avenue you go to rectify that miss? And if they're able to do that and this roster is heading in the right place, then hey, there's not too much we can push back on JES and Haffey and how they're making this team go.
If John Eric Sullivan, Finsanity, drafts another fullback in the third round next year, fire him on the spot. If John Eric Sullivan drafts another fullback in the third round, Brandon Shore, do your job like Tony said, fire him and take over the reins of the draft.
But it'll be very interesting to the point of how we feel about that player once he gets on the field. Because right now we're looking at it and we haven't seen him play it down. We haven't seen him in pads. We haven't seen any of these things that actually comes to the physical aspect of football. If he's out there and he's physically imposing himself out there and he's making an impact, that fullback in the third round that's out there making plays, you're going to be like, okay. So, but also to your point, if he's out there and he's looking like trash, you're going to be like, oh, we're going to have to be like, okay, it was wrong. Like, so both sides, we got to get them out there. They got to get the pads on.
As long as you've been watching football, Finsanity, and Tone, right? Have you ever seen a player this close to going into training camp that still don't have a playbook?
Please stop.
Will Kasmeric is the only player going into this draft that don't have no playbook. You know what they told that man? Day one when we drafted you. As soon as you get your helmet, all you have to do is hit the first player you see.
Okay.
That's his job. That man don't know scheme.
What's wrong with that?
Don't know he don't.
That's not true.
Tone. That man, what is he doing?
He already said the biggest thing that he want people, or that he's going to prove people, is that all you naysayers that say he cannot catch, or he's not going to be a threat in the passing game. He already said this. So it's not like he just coming here like you trying to make it out to say, oh, put your head down and hit the person in front of him. And at the end of the day, if that's what they ask him to do, I'm not mad at that, because every coach in the league would say you need some people on your team that you say you see ball, hit ball. You see player, hit player. Yes, you need those crazy people that's ready to put their body on the line on your team. You need those type of players.
I agree. And usually you get those players in the fifth and sixth round.
No, not to that level. See, that's, I get it. I understand you don't blocking, especially from, let me just say, from a tight end, blocking from a tight end. I can see you don't value that. And I think at the end of the day, it's the things that we see in the trenches and those little things. Listen, that is George Kittle's biggest asset. That's what he prefer to do. Now, he just so happened to turn and develop into a great tight end as well. But he was in the same position in Iowa that Kasmeric was in Ohio State. He wasn't the starter over there. We forget that. It was Hawkinson the starter over there. He ain't had no stats out there in Iowa. But guess what? He came to the league and he did what he did. So we'll see. But he put him in front of the camera. He's going to tell you, I will prefer to block any day of the week before, as opposed to catching footballs. And
there is nothing wrong with that, and I completely agree with what you said. And listen, I've listened to fullbacks say that all the time, that they prefer to block. That's what fullbacks do, Tone. What I'm debating is you don't draft a fullback in the third round, is what I'm debating. It was
George
a
Kittle, man.
miss.
Oh, okay, cool. For you. I mean, good. It is what it is. Speaking of blocking foot, you know what? I'm not gonna say nothing. Go ahead, do your
When do
thing,
you
man.
think? When do you think the motivational emails start from Will Kazmaier?
Hey, I was just gonna bring up your boy that you know the motivational emailer. But hey, it is what it is. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
let's see.
I remember when we signed Alex Ingold. He said he preferred to block too.
Well, that's what you wanted to.
Right. The problem is you can say what you want. Did he hold up at the end of the bargain?
No,
Right. So again, I listen. When I hear Will Kazmaier, when you say he came out and
but
said,
we
"Well,
seen Will Kazmaier hold up in the ball. Have we seen Alec Ingo do that
I haven't
before he
seen
came
him
in?
hold up the end of the bargain when he said he's gonna prove people wrong about catching." I haven't seen him do that.
No. I'm saying we have seen at least when you put on a film and you watch Alec Ingo. Have we seen him be a dominant blocker? We just took Mike McDaniel word for it. But I'm just saying, me going back and looking at the film and watching him, that man is dominant at blocking. Dominant. Not no regular, just Joe Schmo at tight end blocking. No. He's one of the people that you can tell him to go block a DN and he gonna do it on his own. That's an extra weapon on offense when you running the ball.
I agree. I think he's the best tackling dummy in the NFL.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. Hey man, listen, make sure y'all hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We over 2 hours in. I told you it was gonna be one and a one, you know, going back and forth. But at the end of the day, we appreciate all y'all. Like, subscribe, make sure y'all comment and keep an eye on that community. You know, we are putting polls in the community tab as well. So but we appreciate all y'all, man. For Sandy Lou, what's good, man? Y'all anything else before we get up out of here? Sandy Lou?
Okay. Thank you guys for coming out Wednesday night. Just want to say happy birthday to my dad. Thank you for allowing me to be on the show.
Happy
Appreciate
birthday.
you. I love you. Keep being great, and you're an amazing father.
Today or next Wednesday?
Today.
Oh, because you said this Wednesday. I'm like, okay, so today. Oh, happy birthday, man. If he's watching.
Oh, he's watching. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. See you Friday.
Lou?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo the sentiments. Appreciate everybody coming through. To Tone and Finsanity's point, hit the like button, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, get us over the I think now the 1,000 threshold.
Yeah, we got to get it 1,000. Yes.
So listen, we appreciate y'all, man. That's my final thoughts. And before I guess I do the honors and get us up out of here?
Well, before listen, everyone, if you haven't liked and you haven't subscribed, go like and subscribe. Listen, it's right there, the pinned comment. Click on that button and you can subscribe easily. Boom, take you right there. So we make it as convenient as possible. But outside of that, yeah, man, appreciate you, JD. You great. I'll see you in there. You said great show. But now, yeah, Luke, get us up out of here, my good brother.
Hey, man, listen, with that being said, this has been the Wednesday episode of the Blitz Pickup. Y'all know how we do. For myself, for my sister Finsanity, for my brother Tone, we will see y'all Friday for the next installment of the Blitz Pickup. Now, Finsanity, I don't want you to think that I forgot because I stayed silent. The revolver tonight goes out to Pops. Listen, knowing Finsanity for as long as I have, and the great mind she is, and an even better person that she is. Salute to the father and mother and everybody involved in helping raising such an amazing person. So with that being said, we'll see y'all Friday. The revolver goes out to Pops, man. Happy birthday. Y'all know what it is. We'll see y'all Friday.
Yeah.